Cool. Well, hello everybody, and welcome to a brand new podcast. Today we're going to talk about COVID.
Yuck.
Yum. I'm here with Chris McNeil. Say hello.
Hi. What's up?
And I'm here with Andrew. Say hello.
Hello.
And my name's Angel. And let's get started. So we have a very important question that is something that personally I've been struggling with. I believe you brought it up, Andrew, and you've been struggling with it a lot too. And Chris, I don't know about you, but it's COVID. And how do we as Christians deal with COVID on a day-to-day, as it is currently a thing in British Columbia, Canada, and the government's starting to make us do things and force us to do things. So what do we do? What do we do? What do we do, guys?
Well, that is the question, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, I mean, as time goes on, governments are putting more and more restrictions in place. And personally, I fear the fact that the government is taking away our rights and freedoms more and more. And if you look at places like Australia, where they're actually setting up almost an internment camp, a COVID hotel area, right? We're up to like 1,500 people, and they're just pulling people out of their homes, sending them there because they have COVID. Is that coming to Canada or not, right?
Maybe.
Well, that's it. No one really knows. But the question is how do we deal? Like, one of the questions is how do we deal with that fear? That fear of losing control. And also, what does the Bible have to say about that?
Okay, so are we losing control as people here currently in our current situation, in our current global location, British Columbia, Canada?
I would say yes. I think we are. I mean,
Little by little, yeah.
yeah. I mean, as you may not know, we're on the 7th yet, but as of the 13th in BC, if you're not considered partially vaccinated with at least your first shot, you won't be able to go to restaurants, movies, any other type of gaming facility. Or
As of September 13th, 2021.
Yeah.
That's just in BC, correct?
Just in BC.
Okay.
Ontario is passing similar legislation as well as we speak.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Well, I mean, that looks like people losing their freedoms.
100%.
So,
Well, yeah, we don't. We're supposed to live in a quote unquote free country.
Yeah.
That doesn't scream free to me. Where if I'm being held hostage, basically, I'm being told that I can't do something if I don't do this, and it goes against everything I believe. So that's just my opinion.
Technically, that is society. You can't do these things unless these things. You can't drive a car unless you have a license. Like that is society. But this one is a little worse because we, are putting something into our bodies now. It's worse. Not the same as a driver's license.
Yeah, it's not. It's basically going against every fundamental right that a human being has, basically. Mm-hmm. Well, not everything, but it's going against one particular right that a human being has, is that it's my body. Yeah. I pretty much choose what I put into it. I can choose what I buy at the grocery store. I can choose whether I just fill it with Fruit Loops or not. I can decide whether I feed myself bananas all day, every day. Mm-hmm. But yet now I'm being told that I in terms of like I have to do if I want to do something, I have to put this thing into my body.
Yep.
Which is it's against just everything that our like our country is built on, basically.
Yep.
Freedom of choice. Yep. And I know it's not outlined the same way as the states, because the states they put it all into writing very, very particularly where it's like laid out, spelled out. But here we have the same rights and freedoms. It's just not really talked about at the forefront of conversation.
Yeah, the Charter of Rights and Freedoms is definitely not something that we bring up very often in Canada.
Yeah.
So, but it is a piece of legislation that exists, which this law here, in my opinion, or this ruling, would violate.
Yeah. So, to be more specific, we're talking about the vaccine. Are you guys vaccinated?
I'm not vaccinated.
I am not vaccinated.
Me neither. So that is, and I know a lot of people out there are. I know a lot of people out there that aren't. And this is now the current struggle of people that don't want it, being forced to get it.
Well, there's definitely, like, in my opinion, there's a lot of health concerns related to this too. I mean, I haven't had the time to dive in fully into both pros and cons of the vaccine. But government's very pro, obviously, as they're pushing this here across. There's a lot of people on the internet that have put out YouTube videos and gotten censored for saying things like the vaccine is causing a higher rate of birth defects in children being born. There's potential for people that are people not to be able to have birth, right? So there's a lot of other concerns in younger males, high rate of heart disease. So there's also other people putting out even worse claims that saying that people are going to be dead from the vaccine within 36 months or have severe health effects or whatever. They'll be like in their 20s or 30s, but have a cardiovascular system more like they're in their 70s or 80s, which is relatively scary. And I mean, who do you trust? I mean, I definitely don't trust the government. I mean, the FDA, the one that everyone is kind of quoting here or whatever, I mean, they're 70% funded by the people that they're trying to, or the organizations that they're trying to get their drugs passed, right? So if you're 70% funded by them and they all of a sudden say, well, either pass this here or we're going to cut your funding, well, they're probably going to pass it. Also, their track record is not very good either.
So I get it. I get the vaccine not being a thing that you can trust because it's not even existed for 36 months yet, right?
It's not even officially approved in Canada. And I was watching earlier today politicians talking about this here, and they said that it's not even going to be a possibility till early next year in 2022, possibly to mid to late 2022. Before the COVID vaccine is officially approved in Canada. It's only here under Emergency Measures Act, right? Yeah,
because they're still in quote unquote trials right now. They're in testing trials until 2023.
Yep, human trials for 2 more years.
Human trials for 2 more years. So basically, everybody who has been vaccinated has been the first guinea pigs. They're the testing subjects for this vaccine.
Yes.
When we don't really know fully what's in it and what side effects.
Their long-term effects.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and there's no way to determine what their long-term effects are until
long-term.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so the problem is that you can't trust it. It hasn't existed for a long time. You can't trust it. Period. But now the thing is that why I get it. Why we don't want to get it is because you can't trust it. But now when we're being put on a place where people that are federally employed have to get it.
Yeah.
What do we do? Are we supposed to say no to the government and rebel? Are we supposed to obey the government like the Bible says and obey, authority? Is this a religious freedom that we're supposed to have to be able to deny a vaccine? Is there anything in the Bible that says do not get vaccinated or like?
Well, it does say watch what you put in your body, which is one of the same verses that people use oftentimes for people that are smoking or drinking, right? Your body is a temple, right? So, I mean, there would be kind of the one argument saying that we need to watch what's in there. But if the government actually officially mandates it, then, I mean, yeah, what do we do? Because you're supposed to submit to the governing authority that's over you. However, currently, though, it's not officially government mandated, right? They're just saying that you can't do certain things with it, which means they're putting it into corporations' hands as to how they deal with it.
Yes.
Which is kind of a gray area for, you can't really say. If you're a federal employee or something like that, there might be a little bit better
If
chance of having.
Well, I know I am. I currently work at a job where I'm federally funded.
Right.
So I'm not technically a government employee, but the government feeds us money. So the way it was put to us in our company-wide email was, hey guys, so since we are federally funded, all federally funded employees in the transportation industry, so air, rail, and sea, are required to be vaccinated at least one dose by October 12th or 15th, something like that, in and around that mid-October range.
So that's just before the government rolls out phase 2 of you need 2 shots in order to be considered be able to go to do all the other things, at least in BC.
Right. So I don't know. I don't know what to think of that. There was no, and if you don't, there was none of that. It was just laying out this, okay, all federally funded employees need to be vaccinated at least one dose by this date. But there was no corresponding email after that saying, if you don't, then, so I'm just waiting for kind of.
Yeah, I'd be interested in finding out kind of like what their viewpoint is on the different things, because if you get vaccinated because you're going to lose your job, does that company then take over any liability for harm to your personal body because they forced you to get the vaccine? It would be a workers' comp claim after that. So if you died or got severely hurt and this here was a requirement of employment, in my opinion, that there would technically fall. The government hasn't voided companies and their liability on that. They've only voided the government's liability on that, and also the manufacturers on liability from any harm coming from COVID.
Yeah, they're calling it a vaccine injury or COVID or something like that. Vaccine injury or something like that, where if you do get sick or, really something bad happens to you, then I guess it's, I don't know who liability falls under. I don't know that part, but I just know what they're calling it now. It's called a vaccine injury because it's like, it's so common now for people to either miss work for a portion of time or I don't know. I mean, I know someone personally who, after getting, I believe it was the first shot, the first dose, she had a stroke.
Oh, dang.
Yeah, I personally know somebody who had a stroke after getting the vaccine, very quickly after, if not hours, if not just maybe a day after, something like that. So
that's tough.
To me, I'm like, I don't really.
Yeah, same. I also know people that have had problems with the vaccine. Yeah, and you know what? I get it. I get it. Like, I've gotten COVID and it sucks. And I can see if somebody is struggling with some other illness or health issue. I get how it can be a problem. I understand. But the vaccine can also be a problem.
Yeah.
So what do we do?
And you've had COVID, you just said.
Yeah, so multiple times.
So therefore, you have a natural antibody already in your system, which is proven to be more effective than the vaccine. So why isn't that good enough?
That's right. There's no way to prove that you've had COVID and that you are, I guess, immunized through COVID.
Life Labs out here anyways, if you go in there, they can test your blood for the antibody, which is the same thing that they would be testing your blood for after the vaccine, is making sure that you have the antibodies in your body. So technically that should be good, but the government isn't checking for those there and saying, hey, you've got antibodies, you're vaxxed.
So is there some kind of piece of paper, like you can get a proof of antibodies, just like you can get a proof of vaccine card? Like, is there something that you can carry around with you saying, hey,
it's a paper. Yeah.
Okay.
It's a lab report that basically says that you have those antibodies.
Right.
Now, is it okay? I don't watch the news. Is this a thing that's on the news? Hey, if you've had COVID, you can go to the
Oh no, dude.
and like
It's not on there. No one's even talking about it as an option because the government just wants everyone to go get vaccinated. They don't care whether you've had COVID or not COVID.
Yeah.
It's just go get vaccinated, even though technically you wouldn't need it because you already have the antibodies and taking the vaccine could cause more harm. They're not looking at that there. They just go get vaccinated, make sure you get your vaccine passport.
Yep. Interesting. So I wonder, do you guys know anybody that has done that and it has worked to get out of taking the vaccine?
Not personally.
Not to get out of taking the vaccine. A few people have gotten it and shown it to their employers. And their employers are not pushed for them to get vaccinated, but we're also going into a new era of requiring more mandates. So how that would play out for being able to go watch a movie or go to a restaurant, who knows?
Yeah, because I don't think the businesses are told, hey, look at their vaccine card and also, or look at their Life Labs certificate of antibodies.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, if that does work, then great. You know?
Well, I think that would be a more well-rounded approach because then, people can go get antibody testing and say, hey, I've got the same, if not better, protection than you do. But, I mean, that's what I'd like to see, but who knows what the government will actually do, right?
Yep.
And employers.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just keep thinking about my situation and like, am I like I have this like this righteous anger that's built up inside of me, right? Like, yes, to just go back to what you said earlier about like, as Christians, are we supposed to obey the laws, put over us or
get vaccinated?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or do we rise up and fight against this because we know from in the core of our being that it's wrong? Like how do we navigate that, right? And for me as an employee of a business who is making me basically get vaccinated, am I like going against biblical philosophy? Like, am I going against the Bible right now? Like, am I with my righteous anger? Am I rising up? Am I doing wrong basically in God's eyes? Or
I don't think so.
I don't know, right?
I don't think so, at least not yet, because it's not government mandated yet. It's just you can't do certain things. So you can still do all the things that are essential to life, like go get groceries.
Which I think you'll be able to do anyway after it rolls out.
So
September 13th, is that right? Because they can't deny us getting groceries.
Even after September 13th, they're only taking away the luxuries of life, such as sporting events, videos, dining out at restaurants, those sorts of activities.
The way you phrased that, they're taking away the luxuries of life.
Yeah.
Listen to that. Isn't that's just, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that does not sound right.
Right, yeah.
That is not.
No, it doesn't. And I mean, to bring out another topic here, same topic, but different point, I guess, is that certain people out there think that COVID is spreading, the new variant and all of that there is specifically because Christians are not being vaccinated.
Really?
Yeah, that's one of the big talking points, especially in a lot of the media and stuff in the States and different things, is that Christians are causing this here because of our beliefs and different things, and that the benefit of the many outweighs the benefit of one or their choice. And it's just, it should be mandated. It should be, everyone should get it. They shouldn't have a choice, and forego the religious freedoms, the freedoms of a person because it benefits the group. But how do we feel about the fact that, people are saying that this year's being spread because of Christians? We're going into more lockdowns because of Christians, and the fact that they're not getting vaccinated because of their beliefs.
There's always got to be somebody to blame, is what I would first think about.
Yeah.
Right? Somebody has to take the blame, and usually society tends to in big situations, I guess, group certain I don't know, peoples or belief systems or whatever, and they just kind of throw blame on that.
Kind of like we just point fingers at the government and say it's the government, even though the government is a whole lot of different kind of people that all have different kind of beliefs as well. And you can't just point at one and say this is the problem. And I think it is way more than just Christians. I've like heard from different people that even aren't Christians that actually just think it's wrong that people are getting forced to do something to their body.
I agree.
Same.
I don't think that it's personally Christians that are causing this at all,
Well, no,
but it's something that's been brought up. And then we're also, I lost my train of thought.
Well, obviously we're Christians, so obviously we're going to defend ourselves.
Yes.
Like, it's not our fault, guys.
It's not.
Right? We just believe that it should be, there's more, I don't know. This could go down a huge rabbit trail, but there's obviously more going on behind the scenes
100%.
than just a virus being right in front of our face.
Yep.
And so if we'll call it, for lack of a better term, this is just the word that's being thrown out everywhere, the agenda behind everything. So obviously we're very aware of spiritual battles, spiritual warfare, everything that goes on behind the scenes, good and evil, constantly battling, and we just know more of that stuff. We know we're very aware.
Yeah.
We see it. We're I don't know. It's just, so that's why I think Christians are more among the people who are not being vaccinated.
Yeah.
Because we just know that it's fundamentally wrong, and it's more than just getting a vaccine for a virus.
It is way more than that. Yeah.
So,
it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
It kind of brings me back to the sermon that we heard on Sunday, and that him saying that people are looking for something that's bigger than themselves, right? So in the world's point of view, they're looking for government or something that's, that's bigger than themselves, whereas Christians are looking to God. So I think it's interesting because we have a different view on different things. Like, even if I got COVID, I'm not afraid of dying or getting sick or anything like that. Whereas a lot of people, that's what the government uses, is fear to get people involved with, you have to be vaccinated, and having such strong opinions on that there is because they're fearful of their lives, their livelihoods getting infected and different things. Whereas I walk around without a care in the world because I know that if I were to die or were to pass away, I know I'm going home to heaven, and it is a much better place than here.
Yep.
So I don't have to fear. I don't have to fear anything. God's got 100% control over anything.
To die is gain, baby. Ow.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and you know what? Just to go back to this whole unvaccinated people, the variants and whatever, the logic behind what is COVID does not make sense. I think that's why everyone is always just so confused. The variants and it going through unvaccinated people, how the virus works is the virus goes into a person, and when it spreads, that's when you have so many links of spreadage, that's when it forms into a new variant. But when vaccinated people can catch COVID and also spread COVID at the same time, then it's not only vaccinated people or unvaccinated people that create the variant. It is also vaccinated, because it goes through them as well, as much as it can through us.
Right.
Yeah. So, yeah, a lot of holes in this whole thing. But I agree. As believers, I think it's something that we've just grown not to care too much about COVID. And I think that's where people see a problem. And that's where people get scared, because it looks like we're not afraid. And it looks like we don't care. It can seem a little bit like we don't care about the people dying or don't care about other people getting COVID, which I personally do.
I care about everyone. I mean, everyone is, a potential child of God. They all have intrinsic value. God loves everyone. So I think, most Christians, care. And most people that I've asked, whether Christian, non-Christian, vaccinated, unvaccinated, all kind of have the same point of view, at least in the aspect of it should be your own personal choice whether you get vaccinated or not. And it shouldn't be government mandated. So life should be going back to normal. I mean, we have a vaccine that's out there. I think one of the things that kind of is throwing a lot of people for a loop is that the government keeps changing their goalposts, right? Mm-hmm. They keep saying one thing and then a month later they have to retract that and then say something else, right? At one point in time we're never going to have a vaccine passport. Now they're coming out with a vaccine passport, right? Once it was going to be, hey, you're, 2 shots of the vaccine, you're good. Now it's going to be 3 shots of vaccine and then potentially good. But then there's also rumors of you're going to need a new booster shot every 5 months after that. So it's like, how is this like going to be a normal thing of you just having to continually take a shot every few months in order to be able to go out and live in society?
And so, there was 80% of the BC population, once they're vaccinated, everything will go back to normal and everything will be great. We're at past 80% now and we're not there.
Yeah. And I mean, if you look at Israel, they had the highest number of people that were vaccinated, and they're currently going through the highest number of people that have COVID Delta variant. And they've all been vaccinated with the Pfizer, from what I understand. And originally they thought, off of the original COVID, it had a 70% efficacy rate, and now it has a 39% rate, which means that's even going down. So it's like, it's not effective. It has huge side effects and no one knows what the long-term potential side effects are. Like, how is this here even safe? Like, I don't understand. I mean, I guess fear is the only way that people have been like, it's worth it to get it, because all the data that I've looked at or that has been shared and stuff scares the crap out of me for health-wise or whatever. And the fact that it is dangerous. I mean, the one thing that I was thinking of is, if I did have to get it in order to be able to keep my job and different things, is like put it into God's hands as to, if I get it, he's going to keep me safe in different things. But then there's also, why would I do that and have to rely on him to keep me safe and to put my trust in him that everything's going to be okay, when it's like a lot of times we still have control over what we do in our lives. So should I be taking that risk and trying to rely on him, or should I just throw my hands up and say, you know what, I don't feel like this is safe, and walk away from a job and not sure where I'm going to get an income from to pay my bills, right? Which is, I think, one of the questions that a lot of people have that aren't vaccinated right now is in relation to that. What do we do? Do we do we say, I'm sorry, we're not going to basically continue working for you? I mean, personally, I'm not going to quit my job. If they do bring that out as a mandate, I've got a whole bunch of questions for them regarding it. Like, has it been approved? What are the long-term side effects? What's in the vaccine, and how does that interact with our bodies, right? Because no one really knows, and it's like there's fetal cells and different things from in Pfizer, I think it's a 1985 unborn baby that they just keep reproducing those cells in a lab. So it's like, do you want that in your system?
It's so weird.
I know, vaccines are just like, there's nothing right or good about it. And it's like, I mean, God has given us this beautiful natural immune system that is able to do a far better job than any lab is. I mean, able to create. The only thing is those labs don't get a whole bunch of money from people if they're not taking their products, which is why, governments have been trying for many years to continue to push vaccines and other drugs and different things. And all they are is looking at symptoms, not actual underlying causes. So you can take care of a couple of the symptoms, but your body is able to fight things off, and then you don't even have to worry about that in most cases.
Your immune system has 97% chance of getting through COVID.
Yeah.
So
unless you have, 2.5 comorbidity or more, which unless you're old and ailing, most people don't.
Yep.
And if you are under the age of, I think it's 17 or something like that, you have, a 0.02% chance of getting any adverse health effects from COVID.
Yep.
Which is very similar to the lines from what I was watching in another podcast.
Yep.
Is similar to getting struck by lightning for that age group. So it's like, if you think that we should be wearing masks and forcing vaccines or whatever, then we should potentially be getting lightning arrestor helmets for all of our kids and making them wear those as well.
Yeah. That's a good point. That's a good analogy.
Yeah, definitely. I just feel like you were saying, like, God, we have this immune system that God has given us, and as Christians, like, it's just, for me, walking through COVID, I don't know about anybody else, but just for me, it's been frustrating in the fact that I've seen other people affected by it. I've seen fear set in so quickly, but for me, it's just been this, like, honestly, just easy. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm not afraid of getting COVID. I'm not afraid of what COVID will do to me. I'm just not afraid of it at all. And I know a lot of people say that, but I actually believe it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's nothing in me that is even remotely afraid of getting it or the adverse effects of it or whatever. And I just feel like it's just this huge fear cloud that has just been over everyone, that if only we could say what we believe in such a short amount of time, right? To people we know, or to whoever, friends, family, coworkers, relatives, like, school friends, whatever it be. But, like, I don't know. I wish there was some way where we could better get them to understand our mm-hmm. thinking, our point of view. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I don't know.
Because statistically, it is better to get it. Just talking numbers. So yeah, I wish we would have just done nothing. Probably would have been better.
But then, yeah, it's just the government obviously has more of influence over people, the news and stuff, all this. We'll bring it back to the agenda thing, like all the same. I saw this one thing, I don't know what it was, but there was like a split screen of like 16 different news stations saying the exact same thing about COVID. The exact same thing.
I think we've all seen it.
Yeah. It's out there a lot. So I don't know, it's just like this thing where the fear was set in so quickly.
Yep.
It was
super fast, where we as Christians, if we wanted to do something, we would have been fighting an uphill battle right from the start, and it sucks because it's just like, I feel for everyone who has been affected by this, either physically, emotionally, mentally,
same,
every which way, financially even. Like, it's brutal.
There's so many more, like, health effects, and statistically speaking, from like higher rates of suicide to mental depression and different things from being locked down and different things like that. And like, as you were saying, like, I don't fear COVID, but there has been times where I fear our government's reaction to COVID because of the fear that other people have. And so, at least for myself, I've looked for ways to kind of relieve that fear. And for me, that there is having a good Christian fellowship that I can talk to, right? Bounce ideas off of and pray with and different things. So, like, it's always good to have like your Bible buddy, someone that, when you're going through something, you give him a call. He's very biblical based and can just, pull up a scripture or whatever and, help you through whatever it is that you're going through. And I think that's something that's very vital and important. And unfortunately, with COVID and the government's forcing lockdowns and different things, so many people have not purposely pulled away from the church, but haven't been able to go get together at church,
Yeah.
which strains those relationships. So I think like one thing that I wish I could encourage more people to do is to either get back into church if you are able to, like if churches are being held again, make sure you get back to church, get involved with those people again as quickly as possible, because that there is where we're designed to be together as a group, and we are stronger as a group than we are alone. So, and if not, I mean, just connect with other people outside of church, pick up a phone, give them a call, go say hi, and be there for one another. We are all facing similar life challenges. And a lot of times if you're facing some sort of fear, or you feel like you're facing persecution or anything like that there, I mean, a lot of times someone else is too, and a lot of times you pray and you're praying for that miracle. Yep. Well, you can also be that miracle for someone else by just being there when they need that there as well. So make sure you get connected back to one another so that we can work, or we can be with people through this here and support each other and edify the church through this.
Yeah, that's good. And plus, you'll have a stronger immune system when you're with people.
This is true.
Like we saw in the documentary.
Yeah.
Amish are at the highest immune, because they live next to like farm animals, and they're like the healthiest.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
not saying people are animals, just saying
Scientifically, it's proven that they have the higher immune system.
Yeah.
Just because they're of what they're around.
Yeah. So go outside more and get a better immune system.
So also vitamin D has been proven to reduce the chance of you getting COVID-19. So that sun is super helpful. Yeah. Make sure we get out into that a lot.
Well, I've gotten a lot of good information from you guys. What are you guys thinking for the future of what is to come? As in, jobs, as in Canada and BC, as in the world and how they're handling things and what they're making people do. I know in Mexico, same thing was kind of being rolled out. You got to have a vaccine card to go into the grocery stores.
Wow.
So,
wow.
Like what do you guys think of what we should do as Christians with all the information that we have shared?
Andrew, you have any thoughts?
Well, my first reaction is because I don't feel comfortable getting the vaccine. And if I don't feel comfortable with that there, I feel like God's probably telling me that there's something not right about it. So my first reaction is to say, I'm not getting it, and to just walk away from whatever job it is that I am. But not everyone can do that. I don't even know if I can. I mean, I have bills and things in life, and if I walk away from that there, what happens to all of that there, and being able to provide for myself. If that is the case, and that's the route that I end up having to go and having to choose, it would just be trusting God and that He's going to provide either other work for me or some sort of source of an income where I can be still a valuable member of society and not just a homeless person on the street because of a decision that I make. So, but there was I got an email a few weeks back, and I can't remember from who, but it outlined a number of different questions to ask your employer if you are being forced to get the vaccine. And so I think I will be sending out send out that email to the employer if that ever comes up or whatever, asking those questions and just seeing if they can, and asking them like one of the questions on there is basically are you willing to take the liability for forcing me to get this vaccine, and seeing what they say about that, right? Because ultimately it's their decision over my body that's forcing me to get this here, which I think if they're forcing it for work-related purposes, I want confirmation that if something happens to me or whatever, that they're liable. I mean, what is a human life worth if someone were to die, or if in 5 years we have, really bad cardiovascular systems and feel like we're in our 80s? Like, if we can't walk up a flight of stairs and we need help for everything in life at that point in time, are they going to pay for all that care?
Yep. Do you mind sending me these questions? I want to see these questions. That'd be great. What do you think, Chris?
Yeah, for me, I think in terms of just specific like workplace stuff, for me, like I have, like I was saying earlier, like this righteous anger kind of builds up in me, but I'm trying my best not to make that my decision making mental
The emotion
behind it, right? Yep. I want to obviously think through stuff, pray through stuff, and again, like Andrew said, I think I don't feel comfortable getting the vaccine, and I think that's because I feel very strongly that God is telling me, hey, this is something that's not what I designed. I didn't design this for you. I didn't. It's not something that's from me, or you know what I mean. Like it's, for me, just specifically, I think I'm just gonna try my best to fly under the radar.
Mm-hmm.
Not
Nice.
like not rock any boats. Not like, I don't tend to give my opinion much at work anyway. If somebody asks me for it, I will give them strong biblical foundational opinions. But for me, I think I'm just going to try to fly under the radar as best I can, and just keep praying into this, because I know for a 100% fact that, that whatever is meant for evil, God will turn for good.
Yep.
Right. So,
Yeah.
we just have to trust in Him.
Yep.
We just have to and it's easy for you to say like, oh, trust in God, but I don't know. When we fully
Yep.
trust His process and trust what He has, I don't know. I just don't believe anything crazy bad will happen to us. I don't know. It's just, I don't know. Is that, yeah. In some circles that might seem a bit naive, but that's fine.
Yeah.
That's what I believe.
Well, we're supposed to stand out as Christians, right? Stand apart. And so I mean, through this whole COVID-19 thing, I think that's one of the things that Christians have been noticed for, is standing out. So we definitely have a difference of opinion, and we don't show fear like everyone else is. And I think that, as he was saying, some people might view that there kind of negatively because we don't show fear, and they might think that means that we don't care. But it's definitely not that we don't care.
Yep.
It's just that we don't fear.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. For me, you know what? I've been on both sides already. At the very beginning, I was on the side of, I'm just going to get it. I don't care. I know that God has my back, so nothing's going to happen. I'm going to be just fine. I'll just, whatever, I'll get it, whatever. And now I'm like, no, I'm not going to get it. Because you know what? Whatever happens, I'm just not going to get it. And so, yeah, I've been on both sides, but it's something where, just not the vaccine itself, but the fact that the governing authority is pushing the people and forcing them to do something that they are not okay with. Going into biblical history, God has always been there. If we look at Exodus, God was there. Pharaoh, Egypt, they were forcing them to work harder than they physically could. And God was there, and He pulled them out and fed them supernaturally for 40 years. Daniel and my boys and Nebuchadnezzar, they were forced, because they did not agree. They were forced to be put under punishment, and God was there. And so, and many more. You know what? I think I'm just following God. Whatever it is that God says, just doing whatever God needs me to do. is my way to go about it in the future. Because I don't know what's going to happen. The government has been changing their mind over and over, and I don't know what they're going to say tomorrow. I don't know what they're going to say a month from now. And so whatever they say, whatever is going to happen, I know that God is there. I know that I am responsible for myself and my body. And in this particular scenario, taking care of my body looks like not putting something that is still being tested into my body when the effects could be really bad. We don't know that yet. We don't know how bad. We've seen a couple of little things and there's rumors, but we actually don't even know how bad. And because I personally don't know how bad it could be, I am not willing to take that chance with myself and with my body.
Yeah.
And so that is what I'm thinking about doing.
Yeah, I kind of agree with your point of view. I mean, we basically ultimately, at the end of the day, have to trust God and go wherever he's leading us to go. And I mean, I think if the government wasn't so keen on shutting down your freedom of speech and people were able to have like open conversations about this here, we would actually maybe have the ability to have a better conversation and decide whether this here is actually healthy for us or not healthy for us. But right now, because certain information is so hard to find, it makes it really hard to make those decisions. And I mean, when in history has a government had to force something upon its people with threat of not being able to participate in something when what they're advocating for is supposed to be really good? I mean, if it's supposed to be really good for you,
then why the forceful? Well, yeah.
Why do they have to force it, right? So if this was so good for people, why do they have to force it on the people? Why do they have to cover up all the people that are trying to raise questions of concern? If it was great for people and supposed to be the best thing since sliced bread,
then why are our entertainment options being held hostage?
Yes.
Yeah.
And why are we given guns in order to get vaccinated? Hey, get vaccinated. We'll give you a gun in America. I saw the ad on the news. It was funny. Why are we getting incentivized to get it? If it actually is good for us, why aren't we actually paying full sticker price for this vaccine if we actually benefit from it?
Yeah.
I like that point. That's good.
Well, thank you guys. I appreciate you guys taking the time to sit around this coffee table.
Of course.
I am honestly blessed by this conversation.
I am happy that we were able to have this conversation, and I'm looking forward to all the good things that God can bring from it.
Yes. And maybe the next conversation.
Yes.
I honestly feel enlightened. Well, thank you to the 4% of the people that are still and have managed to last 49 minutes. Let us know what you think. I'm very curious to know what you think about this whole thing. Do you agree or disagree? And this video will also probably be silenced. So if you are watching it right now, share it with your friends. If it actually has spoken to you, share it in the group chats with your friends, and let us know what you think. Anyway, be blessed. Take it easy.